Tonight in 9 News, world record. Melbourne just hours away from becoming the world's most locked-down city as the state records another 1,200 infections. Frontline nurses plead with Victorians to get vaccinated, revealing the regrets of patients on their deathbeds. A $1 million prize on offer as big businesses join forces to get Victoria double-dosed. Grave fears for a missing fisherman as police divers scour the Maribyrnong River. And we're live to Brisbane, where the NRL Grand Final will go ahead despite a COVID scare.
This is Melbourne's 9 News with Alicia Loxley.
Good evening. At midnight, Melbourne will become the world's most lockdown city. Today, on day 245 of stay-at-home restrictions, another 1,200 Victorians tested positive. The Premier refusing to lift the city's curfew until we're 70% double-dosed. State political reporter Mark Santomartino.
For 245 days, once bustling city streets have been starved. A growing number forced out of business, with Melburnians locked out and locked in longer than anywhere else in the world.
There is pain, there is loss, there is, however, hope.
Today, our city equalled Buenos Aires' record. Tomorrow, Melbourne takes the crown, facing another 3.5 weeks under strict stay-at-home orders.
Lockdowns are not a sign of policy success, they're a sign of policy failure.
If you're unhappy, what's your alternative? What would you do?
But going hard and early has failed to curb Delta's spread. 70% of today's 1,220 infections are under the age of 40.
We are talking about young people, and largely unvaccinated young people.
A dozen teenagers and 22 people in their 20s are among the 476 Victorians in hospital tonight. Just 2 of the 158 under 50 are fully vaccinated.
And their families are remorseful. They're begging us to give them the vaccination. This could be you.
Michelle Spence has treated 90 COVID patients in intensive care since August at the Royal Melbourne Hospital.
As well as the 90 patients with COVID, we've seen 750 other patients, trauma, stroke, cancer services. Those patients do not go away.
Patients that were forced to wait as staff were stretched at the Northern this week at the epicentre of Melbourne's latest outbreak.
It's been hard. Many nurses don't know that this is what they want to do anymore.
With thousands of ventilators stacked to the ceiling in this giant Dandenong warehouse, staff, not equipment, will be the downfall of the Premier's promise for 4,000 new ICU beds.
We're not playing politics with this, and nor should the government. We just want to know that our health system is ready, that Victorians can be safe.
Capacity the state should not need once Victoria is fully vaccinated.
I know you're frustrated, I know you're scared, I know you're over it, we're all over it, but it's time. It's time to absolutely make a difference.
It isn't over yet. It will be soon. People can be optimistic and positive.
And Mark, what are hospitals bracing for over the next few weeks?
Alicia, we're expecting hospitalisations to spike alongside case numbers throughout this month toward the end of October. How hospitals deal with that, there'll be a number of different strategies. One is increasing their own efficiency. We know that a number of specialty trained ICU nurses are currently working in vaccination hubs. They'll be called back to the front line and replaced by more junior staff. They'll dial up the intensive care beds as needed and may even have to get staff in from interstate to help manage that load. The Royal Melbourne has confirmed through its nurse unit manager that they're in negotiations with staff from Queensland. We also know that other services like elective surgery may have to be cut back if too many beds are taken up by COVID patients. To what extent will largely depend on how many Victorians come forward to get vaccinated by the time we hit that 70% double dose benchmark.
OK, Mark Santomartino, thank you. Well, one lucky Australian will win $1 million just for being vaccinated against COVID. The philanthropic campaign is the latest incentive as the state government opens more vaccination hubs with a Moderna blitz underway. Mimi Becker has the story.
It's pretty simple. Get vaccinated and you could become a millionaire.
So we're just trying to provide a bit of encouragement to do it now. If you're thinking about getting vaccinated, October is definitely the month to do it.
Philanthropists and big business joining forces to create the $1 Million Vax Alliance, which will be giving away more than $4 million in prizes.
So you could be in the running for a daily draw where there's 100 prizes every day in October of a $1,000 ultimate gift card.
With the major $1 million draw in early November.
I'm not so fussed at what motivates you, whether it's for your health, the health of the people that you love, or to win $1 million. I'm not fussed. Just go and get vaccinated.
In the city's southeast, as cases spread, so too does the pressure to increase vaccination rates.
What we want to do is to stop people getting sick, stop people coming to hospital and stop people dying.
Community leaders coming together at the Dandenong Market Palm Plaza to encourage locals to get the jab.
That's where the leadership is coming from. That's where the passion's coming from.
We want Melburnians to be back to normal. We want fans back in the stadium.
Now is not the time to debate whether to get vaccinated or not. Now is the time to find where to get vaccinated.
1 in 3 Victorians in their 30s are now fully vaccinated, while 1 in 4 people aged 18 to 30 have had 2 shots. From tomorrow, 10 new vaccination sites like this one will be set up to administer more than 100,000 doses of Moderna across the week. Another 72,198 vaccines have been administered across the state. Almost 82% of those aged over 16 have had 1 dose, while more than 52% are now double vaxxed. As the state moves towards opening up, one thing in doubt is whether world #1 tennis player Novak Djokovic will be able to play at the Australian Open, with the possibility a no jab, no play rule may be introduced.
The notion of you getting in here without being vaccinated, I think, is very, very low.
Mimi Becker, 9 News.
Mystery surrounds the disappearance of a 65-year-old fisherman who vanished near the Maribyrnong River. Neri Tai is there for us tonight. Neri, what happened?
Alicia, Hulai was last seen at his home in Sunshine North. That was on Friday night. He told his wife that he was heading here to the Maribyrnong River to go fishing, but never made it home. His wife went out to search for him on Saturday morning and found his car still parked in the car park here, and a number of items of his belonging of his items, including clothing here, laid out on the riverbank. Now, police are investigating whether the 65-year-old's fishing rod and fishing net may have become tangled. He may have entered the water and tried to untangle that and may have been caught up in the current. There's been a huge search for the 65-year-old, but still no sign of him.
They're okay at the moment, all things considered. We've got detectives just speaking with them at the moment, trying to get any ideas of anything else that we need to follow up on.
The search has just wrapped up for today, Alicia.
OK, Neri Tai there, thank you. Dominic Perrottet looks set to become the next Premier of New South Wales after officially throwing his hat in the ring just a short time ago. Tourism Minister Stuart Ayres will likely become Mr Perrottet's deputy. Earlier today, the Liberal Party was rocked by another resignation, MP Andrew Constance to leave state politics and run for a federal seat. Well, some Liberals fear the shock resignation of the New South Wales Premier will hurt the Morrison government's chances of winning the next federal election. It's a view shared by the opposition leader, but as Chris Ullman reports, tonight the only contest that matters to Anthony Albanese is the Rugby League Grand Final.
Anthony Albanese has 2 lifelong passions, the Labor Party and Souths.
This brooch here on the scarf was my grandmother's.
He knows that community is the bedrock of all politics.
Rugby league's about that sense of identity, that sense of belonging.
And facing his own grand final at the federal election within a year, the team man knows the cost of losing a key player like Gladys Berejiklian.
I think that it will certainly damage the federal Liberal Party's chances.
A Liberal legend is dismayed by the loss of the New South Wales Premier for his party and his state.
Has lost a very capable, forthright, decent Premier.
And both the New South Wales and federal governments are also carrying the weight of having been in office for a long time.
I know from my experience, the longer you're in office, the harder it gets to win the next election.
The federal election is due by May and it will be like no other. Fought in the shadow of a pandemic, with state premiers looming large on the national stage, some openly campaigning against Scott Morrison, and he has lost a powerful ally in Gladys Berejiklian. But history shows we shouldn't write the Prime Minister off.
I have always believed in miracles.
He will need another, and Anthony Albanese hopes his first victory will come tonight. Chris Ullman, 9 News.
More than 1,000 cash-strapped businesses could soon be given a slight reprieve. Find out how next. Plus, Donald Trump's bold move to get his Twitter account reinstated. And a community's effort to rebuild a Monbulk wildlife shelter destroyed by fire.